Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's Super Tuesday guest, but we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, you've heard me say before, these are all companies that I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. So don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to give them the shout out right now. Here we go. We want to thank Gipper, the official social media graphic solution for the podcast. If you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to show you how to create world-class content for your school's social media channel. It's going to help you celebrate your teams and promote your athletes. Gipper's used and trusted by over 3,000 athletic programs across the country. It's professional graphic design made simple. Go to Gipper.com to get started today. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more. Mention the podcast, they'll give you a nice discount. Hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website and check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to showcase your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. We'd like to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. It's also your one-stop for things like scheduling, student athlete eligibility and clearance, connecting with parents, coaches, you name it, digital uploads. I used Home Campus every single day, and you will too. To get started, go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We'd also like to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Their products not only generate income for your athletic department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We want to say thank you to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. When I was a football coach, I used Huddle for years and it was just great. But when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that let them coach our kids up to their highest level. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire platform. It's going to allow you to raise money almost effortlessly. Okay. At my school, we used Snap Raise, and our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. Hands down, it's the best online fundraiser out there. Go to snapraise.com. Talk to their pros. That's snapraise.com. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Athletic Surveys is about connections. They're going to connect you with the people you already hear from, the gripers, but they're also going to connect you with the 98% of your student athletes and parents that support your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with that frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Super Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We are truly visiting with an old friend today, Dr. Keisha Rowles. If you are longtime listeners of the podcast, you'll remember Dr. Rowles from our very first season. She is a certified master athletic administrator, and she's the director of athletics at the Rockdale County School System, and that's up in Georgia. Keisha and I, I'm going to say, reconnected a little bit at the national conference this year. We hadn't seen each other for a while. It's always great to see her, and we're very excited to have you join our Super Tuesday team today.
Thanks, Jake. I'm excited to be here as well.
Well, for new listeners to this program, we've got a team of 10 professionals that every few weeks, they present a topic that's close to them. So this is Dr. Roll's first appearance on Super Tuesday. So Keisha, what do you have for our listeners this week?
Today, talking about something that is a challenge in all of our arenas, and that's coaches turnover. And just like there's a shortage of officials in Georgia, we've even went so far as now that we're going to allow certified paraprofessionals to go through a coaches education program so that they can take on some of those vacancies of coaching openings that we have across the state. I mean, again, we know your football, your basketball, your baseball coaches, they come a dime a dozen. But when you get into those other sports, we'll call them non-revenue sports. So your tennis, your lacrosse, your golf, your swimming, when you get into those coaches, that's where the challenge is in finding suitable, knowledgeable individuals to get there and instill those educational base. The reason I think we went with the certified paraprofessionals and not just allowing community coaches is because when you have a certificate, there's something for you to lose. And so they're professional standards by the state of Georgia certified. So now we're holding them accountable to those same ethical standards that they use in the classroom, that they're going to take those same principles when they come out to that competitive environment with our interscholastic athletics. But one of the challenges, again, when we talk about that turnover is how do you incorporate those new coaches that are coming into your district, that are coming into your program, so that they understand what your expectations are. They get familiar with your board policies, they get familiar with your individual department handbooks, and can share that mission and vision of your program. One thing that I've done is created the New Coaches Academy. And so what that is the expectation is for that turnover that we have when new coaching staffs are coming, whether it's your football, baseball, track, soccer, whatever it is, when those new coaches are coming in via their head coaches or assistant coaches, that within the first 3 years of them taking on that role as a coach in our district, they come through this new coaches education program. It is a one-day format. We go from about 8 until 2. And so essentially we go through our board policies first. So now understanding what our board policies are as they relate to athletics when it comes to the documentation that is required specifically for our district, the insurance requirements, and how our payment and supplement scales go, because we want them to get an opportunity to know exactly what that to expect when it comes to their pay and what we expect as a district when it comes to their behavior and how they interact with living out the mission of our athletic department and our school district. The second portion of it deals with the Georgia High School Association. So we go through multiple constitution and bylaws in there so they too can understand what the GHSA requirements are of them, not just the district, but what are the specific parameters that they have to operate within. So one or two things don't happen. If you violate a GHSA policy, you're going to get fined. And if you become habitual in that, you're probably going to get fired. So we're trying to prevent, again, that turnover from happening over and over again. Next, we go through just coaching principles. So we talk about educational-based athletics. We talk about having an individual purpose statement. And so we get them to think about not just the X's and O's, but what else are you bringing to that program that are going to be the intangibles that those student athletes take with them when they're not a part of your team. One thing that I tell my coaches is you see these logos behind me. These are all of our schools. Our buses don't read the individual logos that you see. Our buses read Rockdale County Public Schools. So the expectation is when any team gets off that bus, you're getting the same, regardless if you're playing a Patriot, a Bulldog, a Seminole, or an Eagle, you're getting the same team, you're getting the same sportsmanship, you're getting the same character-led individuals leading that team and performing on that field or court. And the last component of what we do at the Coaches Academy is a simulation. So I bring on my ADs and I bring on seasoned and veteran coaches that are in the district, and we go through various simulations to help them understand how to deal with a challenging parent. So now you have veteran or mentors, we'll say you have veteran ADs, mentors in there that are helping you and using guided scripts to help them in dealing with the challenges that come with parents. And so they don't fly off the radar and say the first thing that comes to their mind, but they're able to, again, engage in dialogue so that both parties, themselves and the parents, can come to a resolution that works best, that meets the individual needs of the kid themselves, the parents, and the overall needs of the program. We also go through a simulated interview. So some of those assistant coaches that may have aspirations to be head coaches, we don't want that first chance that they get to sit in front of an interview board to be their first interview. So we go through, again, guided questions and getting them to think about not just I run a spread offense or this is the defense that I run, but get them to really think about questions that they may be asked that go above and beyond just the X's and O's of their program. And we may ask them a question about fundraising. That's not what they do, but if you're aspiring to be a head coach, now that may be an avenue that you want to latch on to that head coach of the program and start to gain and glean from that head coach so that you're getting that needed experience when it's time for you to step into the role as being a leader of a program. And for our other coaches, head coaches, we take them through a coach's eval. So it's a scripted coaching eval where they're having to let a coach go. So now we're putting them into a position where they have to have a crucial conversation. So it may be a friend that you've bought on that's been your childhood friend, but it's time to make a change because they're not working with what your goals are for your team. And how do you go about prepping for that and the importance of documentation? So that's what we do in our coaches academy in helping those coaches. We don't want to give them the keys and say, here, go. And then when things go awry, we're looking at ourselves about what could we have done differently, and did we adequately prepare them for this role that they're taking in our district? Because there's a Rockdale way. We have over 400 schools in Georgia, and each one of them has their way. And we have a Rockdale way. So just because you're coming from a district that is neighboring to us does not mean that our mission and our vision are the same. And they need to know what those expectations are when they take on that leadership role in our district.
I was scribbling down some notes there as you were sharing. Um, Onboarding, new coaches, and then, mentoring, nurturing, keeping your veteran coaches. The expression I like to use is keep them from going rogue. It's a never ending challenge. Just some great ideas. Wow. And again, you're not doing just one school. You're doing your district, your county school there. Great ideas. Thanks for sharing. Keisha, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out some more about how you do things at Rockdale. I love that, the Rockdale way. What's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Best way is my email. So I can be reached at krowles@rockdale.k12.ga.us.
Okay. Keisha Rowles, Dr. Keisha Rowles. We didn't mention that she's also an athletic trainer. Boy, she wears about 8 million hats. Thanks so much for sharing with our listeners today on Super Tuesday, and all the best as we, I guess, kind of wind up winter sports and kick off spring sports here across the country.
Getting ready for it. And there's also just a quick plug about the Coaches Academy will be in the spring edition, spring 2024 edition of NIAAA. So of IAA magazine. So it'll be some more information on that Coaches Academy in that publication.
All right. Make sure you look for that article. Great stuff. Keisha, thanks again, and all the best moving forward.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
For our listeners, we do this every single week, and we also upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, we appreciate you listening. Come back next Tuesday for another Super Tuesday, and just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Wow, what a great session. Make sure you check out Dr. Keisha Rowles, Rockdale High School, and look for that article in the IAA. Before we go, as always, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, I use these sponsors every single day. As an athletic director, you're going to use them too. I want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com for more information. We'd like to thank Gipper. Go to gipper.com. Athletic surveys by LifeTrack. That's athleticsurveys.com. Want to say thank you to Home Campus. Go to homecampus.com and get signed up. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Hometown Ticketing, it's the leading digital ticketing provider. Go to hometownticketing.com. Snap Raise. Snap Raise is the best online fundraiser out there. Go to snapraise.com. And Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.